I'm Piers Lane, and I'm the Artistic Director of the Sydney International Piano Competition for 2023 and the non-voting chair of the jury. And with me on the sofa is one of the jurors, Tanya Bannister from the United States. And Tanya's here in a dual role, really, not only as a wonderful pianist who won the Concert Artists Guild Prize back in something like
2003.
2003, yeah. She now directs that famous organisation as well. So she's here talent scouting, but also helping us find possibilities for our prize winners. So Tanya, tell us what you do with the Concert Artists Guild.
Well, we're an organisation that really supports and launches careers of top emerging musicians, not just pianists, but all instruments. And we have a very strong management department that launches them into the marketplace, especially in the United States, of course. And we work with Young Classical Artists Trust in London. Through our winners, they also get European management. So, you know, we are really scouting kind of to curate the marketplace for this.
Yeah. How often do you hold auditions?
Once a year. Once a year.
And how many, is there a set number you take on each time?
Not really. It depends on who we think we can help. So probably 3 to 5 a year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And do you personally have to go out and introduce them to new networks and things? Or
Well, I mean, we have the management team that certainly, you know, does a very robust job of talking to presenters across the US. But yes, I mean, I know many of them, but it's also, you know, they immediately get launched into kind of exposure to all managements. All the managements know who's on our roster and they're looking to see who they want to take on. Generally, commercial managements are not able to take on emerging young musicians because they require so much hand-holding and work at the beginning because they don't have the contacts to really create enough commission to be worth their time.
Yeah.
Especially after COVID, you know.
Sure. Yeah. Well, I've often approached managements with the idea that they might take on the winner of the Sydney International, but they really don't want to know because it takes 3 years, a lot of them say, to build up a career.
Yes.
And that takes a lot of money on their
part
as well. They can't afford to, in a way. They want people who are proven. But that puts us in such a tricky position when we want to help young artists.
It really does. I think so. And you know, through your 20s, especially, you know, with such a, you know, difficult instrument with piano, you know, certainly through the competitions with the amount of repertoire, Sydney's no exception, right? Was at least 4 hours of repertoire, these musicians.
Yeah, I mean, they have 120 minutes of solo music to present. They have to know a violin sonata and a cello sonata and associated encores. For that, they only get to play one of them and they don't find out which they'll play until they know that they're semi-finalists. And then they have to have 2 concertos ready, one from 1800 or prior and from a list of 9 this time, and one from a list of 15 from Beethoven 4 up to John Adams. So that's a lot to have ready within a few weeks.
It is. And something that, I mean, I know that, you know, both our organisation and YCAT really want to help Sydney support these young musicians is possibly the softer skills that you need, and beyond obviously the phenomenal playing that they have, which is so important to creating a career as a pianist.
Yeah.
Right. So, you know, what is your, you know, profile? What is your purpose with your music? Or how do you program? How do you talk to your audience? What do you do, you know, with the platforms that you have to create those messages, whether it's on socials or whether it's, you know, speaking to your audience? There are so many things to think about now that are critical to the business making of music, and certainly managers looking for that as well, because they can't create all the momentum on their own.
No.
You know, so the musicians have to help, right? Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, I wasn't really around when Emmy Tillett was working, but Ibs and Tillett in London were famous for making careers. You know, they took on somebody and then they made their career for them.
Yeah.
Oh, for those days.
No, those days.
It doesn't work like that anymore.
No.
And agents really don't take people on unless they've got a career in some way already.
Yeah.
And, you know, they charge 20% commission on the whole, which is understandable because not everything they work for results in fees coming in either. They have to cover so many costs themselves. It's very worrying, though, how we go about things. Did winning the Concert Artists Guild in 2003 help you on your way?
Oh, for sure, because it just immediately launches you into having, you know, concerts. And so that creates experience and experience also speaking to audiences, being on the ground, you know, playing with, you know, good orchestras, maybe orchestras that are maybe more challenging to play with, which is experience in itself.
Look,
right?
some of the best training I had was winning the Croydon Symphony Soloists Award.
Yeah. Yes.
And they're a semi-pro orchestra and amateur in many ways. But I played so many concertos with Sir Arthur Davison and his son Daryl Davison, and it was fantastic. I had to once step in at the festival hall on 10 days' notice for the Emperor Concerto, which I'd never learned.
Oh, wow.
And so, I had the experience though with these amateur orchestras and some professional ones as well, to feel safe doing that. One time I had to play at the Barbican I came home on a Thursday night to discover I was taking over a Mozart 467, which I'd never learned. And I had to learn it on the Friday and perform it at the Barbican on the Saturday.
Well, that's
things
incredible.
that I wouldn't agree to do now, probably.
Yeah, but that's a certain talent.
And
sure.
you
have to be able to be quick on your feet as a pianist. And that's what a competition like this is perfect for, because it really tests the resilience and stamina and the amount of repertoire that a pianist can hold, which is so important for especially a pianist's career, don't you think?
You've got to have enormous talent, but you've got to be able to take opportunities. You've got to be ready for opportunities when they present themselves.
Absolutely.
And do you do a lot of chamber music and that sort of side of things as well?
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the benefits of even the organization that I won in those days was that I created an idea that I wanted to, in my 20s, start a chamber music festival. Uh-huh. And I spoke to the director, and this is something that I try and help the musicians do now, is like, well, what are the other initiatives that you might want to create or start beyond just, waiting for the phone to ring and for someone to present an opportunity for you? What are the opportunities you want to create for yourself? Or what are the ways that you might want to give back to a community in your area in some way?
Well, we've started this Out West Festival in Bathurst, country town in New South Wales, northwest of Sydney, which is famous for a car race, actually.
Oh, really?
But last year there was a festival held under the aegis of the Sydney International Piano Competition, and it was directed by Alex Gadzhiev, the winner of the 2021 online competition. Yeah. This year's festival will be directed by the winner of the 2016 Sydney International competition, Andrei Gugnin. And I'm supposed to mentor them, but those two are highly intelligent people and very experienced musicians, so they don't need too much in the way of mentoring. But I suspect this year's winner will probably program next year's.
But Piers, I think they all do in certain ways. I mean, we have incredibly accomplished musicians and conductors on our roster, for example. And I'm always surprised how, and I think we all can have help and support. We do this social impact building program that, I ask each of the musicians, think of one issue you either like to solve or innovate in the specific area that you live. And they struggle with that because they're so used to knowing clearly what they want to do and executing it really well, and to really think deeply about, well, what is it that makes me frustrated about the industry or about how music is placed in the world? How can I change it? It's really hard. And I think those are the questions we need to be asking the musicians to really bring it into the future and engage more people into what we're doing. Otherwise, it's going to always be playing to the very narrow, set of people that enjoy classical music exclusively. We need to bring more people in, I think.
Yes, well, there are a lot of initiatives I know about in London too, where people are using smaller venues like restaurants and places getting set up in pubs and things.
But these pianists are not necessarily thinking about that because they're so busy practicing.
I know
that they do need to be, encouraged, I think, and supported in that sense. So that's something that I believe in very strongly.
It's wonderful. I think I want to join you too.
No. But anyway, that's how we're going to. We'd love to support Sydney with that.
Oh, it's lovely.
Certainly with the winner.
And you flew here, I think, from Switzerland.
From Austria, from my festival in Austria that I created 15 years ago. So I was in my 20s, and I thought, we've discovered this incredible area on the border of Austria and Italy, and we met this instrument maker that was also the banker. And what I loved about this area is that, there's a waiter and there's the banker and just every man earning money in a very normal profession, but they all play music, folk music. And twice a week as a community, they meet and they rehearse together and they perform together. And so music is really part of the fabric of how they live. And so we decided to start a festival. And at that time, it was an amateur festival because, in our 20s, the faculty couldn't draw people in. But now, 15 years later, the faculty now also teach at major institutions. So we bring in both amateurs and high-level younger musicians. So, yeah, I just came from there, after leaving a few days earlier.
You're so wonderfully enterprising.
Well, I don't know. I just do what I feel is fun, and also that I feel is somehow missing. There's nothing where they're mixing different ages and generations and levels, actually. So, yeah.
Who were your main mentors?
Musical mentors?
Well, either, but musical certainly.
That's a difficult question.
Right.
I mean, musically, obviously, my teachers were huge mentors: Claude Frank, Richard Good. I grew up, my mother was incredibly enterprising and entrepreneurial. Both my parents were always looking outside the box to create opportunities for themselves. So maybe that's where I kind of get this habit of thinking a little bit beyond what's presented in front of me. Yeah.
And you're a mum.
Yes.
And how do you combine everything? It's one of the questions that face us about women. There are fewer women in the competition than men.
I know. It's true. Because women are managing all sorts of different things. But the women in this competition are dynamic and amazing. I'm so excited to see what happens.
Yeah.
But I love being a mother, and it informs me so much. Actually, my son is coming, and towards the end, I'm hoping he catches a bit of the chamber music because he's a cellist. Yeah. But no, I think that it just creates more empathy and understanding of what's needed out there when you have all these different roles to kind of navigate.
Have you had nasty patches in your life where you thought, how am I going to do this? I've got to do this, I've got to do that.
It does. Yeah. I mean, I think you have to know which ball you can drop that day. Sometimes.
Oh.
Yeah. No, but I wouldn't change.
Well, we're talking on the final day of the preliminaries. It's the 5th day in a row. These enormous days of sitting.
Oh, my goodness.
and concentration. And so tonight I have the painful task of announcing who is being left out of the semi-finals. And it is painful because everyone who's in the competition, they've already been selected from 250 applicants. These 32, they're all worthy of being here.
Absolutely.
And it's heartbreaking to have to.
Yeah, but it's wonderful they got to play twice.
That's true.
It's really extraordinary. They came here and they had 2 presentations.
Yeah. And it's very possible people will hear them on the live stream and pick them up.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I know that happened with Anna Genyushena, actually, from the Tchaikovsky competition. An wonderful organization in Canada, heard her semi-final from that. And even though she didn't reach the finals on that occasion, they employed her subsequently.
Oh, that's amazing.
And then she ended up getting a top prize in the Van Cliburn.
Yeah, so it just goes to show you.
Absolutely.
It goes to
it's
show
exposure.
You. Absolutely.
And that's what you and I are trying to do for them all.
Yes, with pleasure. And you're doing such a phenomenal job, Piers.
Thank you
so much for all that you do in Sydney's.
Bless you. Thank you for being here. And thank you for chatting.
Thank you.
Bye for now.
Bye-bye.